Hello everyone, my name is Bujit Patel and I'm just going to presenting whether the financial industry was responsible for the 2008 economic meltdown. It's one of the biggest financial disasters in modern history and it just changed how the world sees banks and money. So let's start with the introduction. Before we blame anyone, let's just first understand what really happened. In 2008 crisis, it wasn't just a small issue. It hit almost every country and millions lost their jobs, homes and savings and let's go step by step. So in early 2000s, everyone wanted to buy a home. The housing market was booming, banks were giving loan easily even to the people with low income and bad credit. So these risky loans were called subprime mortgages, and the home prices was keep going up, and people thought that it would never stop. Banks made huge profits, investor made money, and people kept buying houses. But the problem was it was just built on the borrow money and false confidence. That was just a housing bubble. Then it's just pop. People couldn't pay their loans. When they stopped paying, banks lost their money, investor panicked, and the value of those mortgage backed securities dropped fast. And this was just the starting point of the crash. So now let's talk about financial industry's role. Banks and lenders created those risky loans just to make fast profit, and they didn't even check the borrowers properly, and they sold those loans to investors as safe products. Basically, just greed over logic. And after that, the big Wall Street firms like Lehman Brothers and AIG made complicated products like CDOs, collateralized debt obligations. Most people didn't even understand what they were buying. Everyone was just assumed that home price would just keep going up, and they were wrong. And then government policies encourage home ownership, even those who couldn't even afford it. They wanted to make it easier for everyone to buy a home. It sounded nice, but it's just created a system failed with risk. And the rating agencies and regulators, like the people who should have stopped it, and they just did not act in time. They either ignored the warning signs or believed the system was too strong to fail, and that just made crash even worse. And another one is consumers. So even consumers played a part, like many borrow more than they could repay. They just took multiple loans thinking the house's prices would keep going up forever. It was just a risky behavior everywhere from Wall Street to the regular people. And then finally, the crash happened. Like by 2008, the system is just collapsed and the big banks fail, like Lehman Brothers, the stock market crash, and the panic spread worldwide. It wasn't just an American problem, it just became a global recession. And millions lost their jobs, families lost their homes, businesses shut down. It shows how one sector greed could affect the entire economy. And let's just talk about who is responsible. So, well, the financial industry was the main cause. They created risky loans, ignored the danger, and fooled investor. But it was also chain reaction, like evolving governments, rating agencies, and consumers. And the main culprit is like banks, who have the most power and knowledge. They could stop it early, but they didn't, and they focused just only profit, not the responsibility. So after the crisis, new laws were made like Dodd Frank Act. It forced banks to be more transparent, limit risky trading, and hold more reserves. It was basically a wake up call for the whole industry. And the risk management, I'm gonna say like the crash is also taught the other countries to the lesson. Economics become more connected. When one major country falls, the other feel it too. So that's why international cooperation became important. And the biggest lesson I'm gonna say, like stricter regulatory measures, the ethics matter, financial responsibilities matters. Finance is not just about the money; it's about the trust. If banks lose people's trust, the whole system breaks. And in 2008, meltdown was the result of broken ethics more than broken math. And to summary, I'm just gonna say the financial industry was responsible for 2008 crisis, but it just wasn't alone. It was a team effort of bad decisions, greed, and weak oversight. Everyone played a small part, but banks lead the way. And in 2008, it just meltdown changed everything. It just showed how one industry's mistake could shake the entire world, and the financial industry was the main driver and the world paid the price. That's all about my presentation. Thank you very much.